Welcome to Why Wells Fail. Everybody's calling Lloyd all the time.
All the time.
They want to know what it looks like. What a time to be refined. People calling Lloyd. Today what we're going to talk about, Lloyd. Welcome to your show, by the way.
Thank you.
So, one of the things that struck me about your culture, you have this saying, protect the reputation, protect people's reputation. And, I understand it now, but I had to hear you talk about it. But, if you think about it, and all of these operators, if they're guessing at what to do to produce a great well downhole without data, you're risking your reputation. Why is that a big deal?
Well, ultimately, it comes down to several things, right? There's promises that are consistently being made for every company. It has the ownership, it has the investors, it has the employees. And when I was writing Refined by Failure, that's one of the things that we discount is the time, effort, and energy of all of our employees that are going in to build the assets that generate the revenue for our companies. And one of the biggest challenges is when we take risks or we don't take a knowledgeable risk. What are we saying to the people that are out there doing the work? And, we were in a conversation last week where a company says one thing, but they consistently do another. And this is an oil and gas operator. And, we've been talking about a relationship with them. And I'm like, if what you say and what you do doesn't match up, you're going to be unaligned, misaligned. And misalignment creates the greatest opportunity for damage to your reputation. Because if you can't agree on how you're going to do business, and rule number 7, right? The commitment rule, try is not a commitment. Try is an easy way out. It's a way you think you're being nice, but try equals fail. And we're a company about our word is our bond and commitment. And sometimes you have to say no to working with folks, number one. And that's why it's important, because if you don't have alignment on what the ultimate purpose is, and our purpose is to help our customers utilize technology to keep their promises. And that promises is to those 3 stakeholder groups. Your employees, because they still want to continue to work and get paid. The investors, because they put capital at risk and they want to get a return on that. And then ultimately the ownership group, because they're taking their intellectual property, skills, and abilities to leverage the invested capital to create something worth much more value. And that's the type of company that we are and that we want to work with. Because if you're misaligned and you're just looking for that a magic bullet, right now, Steve, the word surfactant is back. I feel like it's 2016 all over again. And it's the recycling of old promises, doing the same thing that you've always done, trying to get a different result. And so when I say that, it's like the insanity of 2016, because we've got $100 oil. We've got this real momentum in the industry to significantly damage reputations. And that's really why Refined exists. We want to stop the insanity. Stop the insanity,
The insanity is the silver bullet. Just need one thing. Let's just make that call, get it, and let's move on. But it's destroying profits. It's long-term destruction on your equipment. It's can cause loss of jobs, loss of investments. And so
Well, and think what happens. You know, Stephen Covey wrote a book called The Speed of Trust. Companies move fast when they're built on trust. Companies move slow when trust has been broken. And that's been one of our challenges as we bought, refined, and started the company from Smart. Is we were having to pivot from being one of the companies that was a commodity. Smart had gone from being a technology provider to a commodity, and we had to take back and reestablish that now Refine is completely focused on process that provides predictive promises, and that's where we are today. And that's where, when you start hearing these buzzwords of chemistry, and by the way, when you talk about surfactants, the the range of what a surfactant means is so broad, and what they do within the geology and the purpose that you deploy them. It just again, it's dumbing down our industry, providing a promise that's going to damage and destroy reputations.
It's magic chemistry or silver bullet. It's not taken into consideration that where this chemical is being used, or this surfactant or whatever is in there being used, is based on a one size fits all. And everyone knows that geology is not a one size fits all.
Well, and if you're not managing so many other factorials, surfactants are important, the right ones. And by the way, we have surfactant within our shell flow, but why? Again, why do you use what you use? Why do you use how much you use? You've got to understand the 242 mechanisms of failure. That's what you've got to understand. And if you don't understand that, saying that this one thing, geology is not curly, right? You remember that from the show City Slickers? What's the one thing? Well, it ain't surfactant. It's what are the 242 things that we need to understand and measure, so we get more than one thing. We get high volume of valuable hydrocarbons, oil and gas, low volumes of disrupted materials, CO2 and H2S, which provide us with a long-term lower LOE, lease operating expense, for the life of the well. And the lower the LOE, it means that your equipment is sustained. It doesn't degrade. It doesn't have mechanical failures caused by the byproducts of this disrupted material. And the well produces more oil and gas over its life than if you do it living in a disrupted state. And we've measured 36 months, and in 36 months, we're seeing higher oil and gas, 40% more on average, without the disrupted material CO2 and H2S. And so it is an absolute, it's a number one, it's a promise, it's provable, and we'll back it up. We guarantee our results.
It's a patented process. It's the Pathfinder process.
It's patented. And the cool thing is, Steve, we've got 4 more unbelievable, I don't know if they're children of the original patent, but they're all process. And where we are, they're completely novel, just like what we discovered. And it's exciting. The level of learning that we're having, because understanding the mechanisms of failure has opened our eyes to so much more. And, what's really cool is our promise getting more concrete. And that's, man, you want to talk about something satisfying?
concrete instead of surfactant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you look at it, Steve, what is the strength of the promise that you're providing to the customer? Is it concrete, or is it, oh man, I don't know what happened. It looked good over here.
The Pathfinder process, so it's basically, I got 242 variables that you have to navigate and get right. So guessing or doing a one size fits all, I don't know what the odds are on it being wrong, but they're high. But beginning with the end in mind is what you always talk about. That's the essence of the Pathfinder process, right?
That's exactly right.
And so going in and studying all these variables and then testing and determining how the rock is going to react with the pressure, the temperature,
So let me ask you a question. It's kind of like you see all these methylene blue, the magic of mitochondria. I think I'm pronouncing
mitochondria.
Mitochondria. Thank you. And you see all these separate processes, but they're focusing on one thing. And you and I have been for the last 10 plus years focused on staying as young as we possibly can. Well, if what we are doing wasn't working, our blood would show it. Our body, the density of the muscle, our bones, all of these things for the efforts that we're having would show. We'd have a lot of, visceral fat. We'd have all of these different things that show. Wells are no different. And that's why we, after we complete a well, we don't walk away. We're still doing science on that 1 year, 2 year, 3 years after the completion, because it's letting us know, are we creating longevity? And longevity equals profitability. I'm excited next week. You and I are going to be able to show on actually, is today our last one? Next week's Labor Day, our Memorial Day, excuse me.
Oh, it is. Yeah, today's our last one, unless you want to go one more with those results.
Well, we may just post it and let everybody see it and ponder it over the next couple of months as we take a break. But it's ultimately based on the infinity symbol, and it shows how the work that we've done goes as far back as we exist, and the work that we're doing goes as far forward as we possibly can see, and we'll continue to do that. And it's really about how much have we learned from our past to apply, and how much are we learning right now in the present. And that's the interchange on the infinity symbol in the center. That's the present. Everything behind us is what we've learned. Everything in front of us is the possibility of what we have. And the possibility of what we have is the decisions that we make at that point. And that's where what our whole conversation today is about. Protecting the reputation is dependent on the decisions that we make today. Understanding the cost and the benefits that are provided or not.
So building a culture of predictability is seated in those processes, the process that you follow, the Pathfinder process.
That's right.
So instead of a guess, it's a process. Instead of a risk, it's a guarantee of protecting the reputation.
And a guarantee of protecting the rock, right? The rock is the resource, and we're going to protect that and allow it to release the resource instead of trapping it forever by making bad decisions that block that ability of that resource to provide as much as it possibly can over its lifetime.
I imagine folks that are listening, they're like, I recognize that I have made some, estimated guesses. You have to make a call on this, what with the data you have. And maybe they would love to have a little more confidence, better data, and better clarity on what options and how to go about this to protect the investment, the shareholders, the team that's going home. So what's the best way to talk to you?
Well, number one is they can reach me right off of the QR code that's on our screen, or at the call sign at Refine C Lloyd B, which works across multiple platforms, whether you're watching it here or on X, here being LinkedIn or on X, and or YouTube. And the other way is to shoot me an email, lloyd.brown@refinecompletions.com. And of course, our website has a lot of call to action buttons that you can press and get in touch with us. So, and by the way, I want to thank the folks that have reached out through this. It blesses us to know that the investment you and I are making in this time to help teach and understand is being rewarded. And I'm grateful for the folks that have reached out to us through the platform.
Awesome. If there's some questions we haven't talked about, you'd like to know, like to ask, send them in. Send them to Lloyd's email. Say, Lloyd, talk about this. I want to know this. Why this? And we'll do it. Another great episode of Why Wells Fail with Lloyd Brown.
The last episode of Why Wells Fail, because we have a new name coming, Steve.
A new name on Why Wells Fail. Last episode, new name, new promise, new patent.
Some new patents, and guess what?
What?
A lot of proof.
A lot of proof in that pie.
Right.
Lloyd Brown, good job today. Good season. We'll wrap it up, take a break. We'll be back after school gets started again. And then we'll see
First
you
week of August.
The next episode of We Don't Know What the Name. Actually, but we can't tell you. We're teasing. All right. And that's a wrap.
Thanks, brother.